Yamata no Orochi is a colossal and terrifying creature, a true nightmare born from ancient Japanese mythology. Its name, meaning eight-forked serpent, already hints at its monstrous nature. This beast possesses 8 enormous heads and 8 massive tails, and its gigantic body stretches across 8 valleys and 8 hills, covering the land like a living chain of mountains. Each of Orochi's heads is as large as a boulder, with glowing red eyes that shine like burning torches in the dark. Its gaze radiates a supernatural malice, as though the serpent can peer deep into the soul of anyone unfortunate enough to meet its stare. The mouths are wide, lined with razor-sharp fangs, constantly dripping with a thick black venom so corrosive that it burns the ground wherever it falls. Its long, forked tongues writhe restlessly, always tasting the air for its next victim. The creature's entire body is covered in thick, armored scales hardened like stone, and varying in color from deep black to mossy green to a blood-red hue, as though stained from countless battles and sacrifices over the centuries. The scales are uneven and jagged, with some cracked or missing, and others covered in patches of moss and lichen from lying dormant in the forests and mountains for ages. Orochi's 8 tails are as thick as ancient tree trunks, and each movement causes tremors in the earth, shaking trees from their roots and splitting the ground open. As the serpent slithers and coils, the sound of its massive body dragging along the earth echoes like the rumbling of a distant avalanche. Adding to its terrifying presence is a stench of death and decay, mixed with the lingering smell of sake, referencing the legend where Susanoo, the storm god, intoxicated the beast with powerful rice wine before slaying it. The air around Orochi becomes heavy and oppressive. Leaves wither, animals flee, and an unnatural silence descends, as though nature itself fears the monster. In its entirety, Yamata no Orochi embodies chaos, destruction, and unstoppable primal force. Its very appearance is a harbinger of doom, and its roar is a chilling sound that echoes through both the mortal and divine realms. In the ancient age of the Japanese kami, gods, there lived a powerful storm deity named Susanoo-no-Mikoto. Susanoo, the brother of the sun goddess Amaterasu, was known for his impulsive and rebellious nature. After several conflicts in the heavenly realm of Takamagahara, Susanoo was banished from the heavens and descended to the mortal world, wandering through the province of Izumo in what is now Shimane Prefecture. As Susanoo journeyed through the land, he came upon an elderly couple, Ashinazuchi and Tenazuchi, who were weeping beside the high river, now known as the Hidi River. With them stood their only surviving daughter, Kushinada-hime, a beautiful young maiden with long black hair and delicate features. Susanoo, moved by their sorrow, asked them the reason for their tears. The couple explained their tragic fate. They once had 8 daughters, but every year for 7 consecutive years, a fearsome, 8-headed, 8-tailed serpent called Yamata no Orochi had appeared and devoured one of their daughters. Now only Kushinada-hime remained, and she was next to be sacrificed. Intrigued and captivated by Kushinada-hime's beauty, Susanoo made a bold offer. If the couple would consent to give him Kushinada-hime's hand in marriage, he would slay the terrible beast and end their suffering. The couple, desperate and full of hope, agreed. Determined to defeat the monster, Susanoo devised a cunning plan. First, he transformed Kushinada-hime into a comb-like object, hiding her safely in his hair to protect her from the serpent. Then, he instructed the elderly couple to brew 8 large vats of extraordinarily strong sake, Japanese rice wine. These vats were placed behind 8 fences with 8 gates, one in front of each vat. Before long, Yamata no Orochi emerged from the darkened forests, and the earth trembled beneath its colossal coils. The serpent was a horrifying and awe-inspiring sight to behold. Yamata no Orochi's appearance was the embodiment of terror. The beast was colossal, its body stretching over 8 valleys and 8 hills like a living mountain chain. It had 8 enormous heads, each as large as a boulder, with glowing red eyes that burned like lanterns in the night. The stare of Orochi radiated supernatural malice, as though it could see into the souls of its victims. From each mouth dripped thick black venom, potent enough to corrode the earth and poison rivers. Its razor-sharp fangs glistened under the dim light, and its forked tongues flicked hungrily, tasting the air for prey. The monster's body was covered in thick, armored scales, colored in hues of deep black, mossy green, and blood red, as though stained by the countless lives it had claimed. The scales were uneven, cracked in places, with patches of moss and lichen, evidence of its age and connection to the wild elements. Its 8 tails, as thick as ancient trees, dragged behind it, causing tremors with every movement. The air around Orochi grew heavy with the stench of death, decay, and sake, as the beast was lured by the strong smell of alcohol. Greedy and unsuspecting, each of Orochi's 8 heads approached a vat of sake and drank deeply. The monster consumed the potent wine until it became lethargic and intoxicated, its head swaying unsteadily, eyes growing dull and unfocused. Seizing this critical moment, Susanoo drew his mighty sword, the Totsuka-no-Tsurugi, and attacked with divine fury. With precision and overwhelming strength, he cut through each of the 8 heads, severing them one by one. Blood and venom poured out like rivers, staining the earth and the waters below. The battle was fierce and thunderous, but Susanoo's determination, courage, and strategy led him to victory. As Susanoo moved to cut open the enormous tail of the serpent, his sword struck something hard within the creature's flesh. Upon closer inspection, he discovered a magnificent sacred sword hidden inside the serpent's body. This was the Ame no Murakumo no Tsurugi, later renamed Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi, grass-cutting sword, which would later become one of the 3 imperial regalia of Japan, symbolizing the divine authority of the Japanese emperor. Having slain the beast and retrieved the legendary sword, Susanoo fulfilled his promise. He restored Kushinada-hime to her human form and took her as his wife. Together, they settled in the land of Izumo, where Susanoo built a grand palace near the site of his victorious battle. In gratitude and to commemorate his triumph, Susanoo composed a poem, considered one of the oldest recorded examples of Japanese poetry. Many clouds arise, the 8-fold fence of Izumo, for the spouse to dwell, the 8-fold fence we build, and in its 8-fold fence we enclose her in safety. The story of Yamata no Orochi is far more than just a myth of heroism and monsters. It holds a deep and multifaceted significance within Japanese culture, religion, and national identity. At its core, the tale symbolizes the triumph of order over chaos, good over evil, and the eternal struggle between human and divine will against the destructive forces of nature. On a religious level, the myth is deeply embedded in Shinto beliefs, representing the spiritual relationship between deities, kami, and the natural world. The character of Susanoo-no-Mikoto, though originally known for his destructive and rebellious nature, becomes a symbol of redemption, protection, and courage through this heroic act. His victory over Orochi represents the restoration of balance, a central theme in Shinto cosmology, where harmony between heaven, earth, and humanity is essential. The discovery of the sacred sword Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi inside the serpent's body further elevates the story's cultural importance. This sword became one of the 3 imperial regalia of Japan, alongside the Yata no Kagami mirror and the Yasakani no Magatama jewel, items that symbolize the divine legitimacy and authority of the Japanese emperor. Even today, these imperial treasures are key to important state ceremonies, such as the enthronement of new emperors, strengthening the connection between ancient myth and modern governance. In terms of artistic and literary influence, the legend of Yamata no Orochi has inspired countless works across multiple forms of Japanese media. Traditional No and Kabuki theater, often reference Susanoo's character or the Orochi myth in their dramatic performances. In classical Japanese art, the battle is depicted on ancient scrolls, woodblock prints, ukiyo-e, and shrine paintings, especially in regions historically tied to the Izumo province. In modern times, the legend continues to appear in anime, manga, and video games. For example, the multi-headed serpent form of Orochi appears as a recurring boss or enemy archetype in popular game franchises like Okami, Final Fantasy, Smite, and Warriors Orochi. In the anime world, adaptations or references to Yamata no Orochi can be found in series like Naruto, where the character Orochimaru draws clear inspiration from the serpent god, and One Piece, where the character Kurozumi Orochi is a direct reference. In literature, the story is often included in Japanese school textbooks when teaching Kojiki, records of ancient matters, and Nihon Shoki, chronicles of Japan, the two oldest chronicles of Japanese mythology and history where the story was first recorded. Moreover, the story is commemorated in real-world locations. Shrines such as the Yigaki Shrine and the Susa Shrine in Shimane Prefecture are dedicated to Susanoo and Kushinada-hime, drawing visitors every year who come to pay respects or participate in festivals reenacting the myth. In summary, the legend of Yamata no Orochi remains a timeless narrative that bridges myth, history, religion, art, and popular culture. Its themes of bravery, strategy, and divine justice continue to inspire new generations, keeping alive the epic tale of Susanoo and his fateful battle against the eight-headed serpent.